cool that we're doing this from
This
our
is
rooms,
hiding my
you know,
heart.
fairly subdued. Because I think when you think of pride, you think of excess and getting all done up and getting all, you know, ready to go out and celebrate, which of course, but really when you dig down to the heart of it, pride is all about being proud of who you are when all of that gets taken off at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh. I mean, we've had nothing but like a year of self-reflection and having to be comfortable just being in ourselves and being with ourselves. I don't think it's by chance that my kind of gender expression and identity journey happened while we were in lockdown,
Hmm.
because it gave me a chance to really think and to really process and be okay with my thoughts and being alone. And you know, when you can't go to someone for advice and support, like when you just have to be with yourself, it's crazy what can be revealed. And so that's been massive.
We work in an industry where we're so productivity driven, or productivity pressured, I think is maybe a more accurate way of saying it. And then when we take all that away, what do I do with this? Are my other skills even existent? Because it's so based on doing the work, getting the work, keeping the work, staying relevant, and all of that stuff. But it's like who am I when that gets taken away?
Yes, that is the huge. You know what? I was at home with my family in Whitby. I was just sitting there, and I turned to my mom and I go, "Who are you when what you do is who you are, and you can't do that anymore? Who are you?" Like for so long, I I attached the identity of the artist and what I did with who I am. But again, it's that this is the silver lining kind of this whole mess is okay, really, who are you? Like what happens one day if like you lose your legs or like you lose your voice? Like is that it? Are you done? Like are you giving up, or are there other things to do? Can you be helpful and creative in a different way? Of course, my fallback always is visual art. Like I always go back to, cause I always say if I'm not creating, I'm destroying, and it's usually myself I'm destroying. So I have
Oh,
to have an outlet, or else I'll go insane. That idea of this like identity crisis is like so real, because like we're treading water, treading water, treading water, and if we're not busy, we feel like we're like, you know,
we're in a, you know, still in a really traumatic, difficult time en masse. How are you taking care of yourself?
as a self-destructive Aries, Pisces rising, I
Mm.
sometimes forget to take care of myself.
Mhm.
But a huge thing is cutting down on drinking. Um, I find even just like my skin is so much better. Um, Drinking water. I mean, it's insane. Like because I also do suffer with depression and anxiety. Like you find sometimes that your inner saboteur is telling you that you don't deserve to feel good, or you can't trust feeling good. Um, but even something as little as like my mom's a nurse and she's always like, just go for a walk. And I go, okay. So I, you know, put on my friggin' whatever outfit and put on my mask and put on my hat and I go for a walk. And I mean, I hate to say it, but it literally works. Like just getting the blood flowing, getting some sunshine. You know, these are the things I try my best my best to do when I'm up
Yeah,
to being nice to myself
yeah.
and talking to people.
Hmm. It's hard. Isn't it funny how I find self-care very difficult myself because I'm still making that transition of I am not what I do. I am not what I achieve. I am not what other people think of me, which is tricky. And I think what's so great about this time right now is the conversations, the realizations, the breaking of that generational sort of trauma. It's interesting when you're given that sort of narrative for so long. It's like, well, do I deserve to take care of myself, and why is it so difficult, you know? And it's my hope that we can switch that.
Taking care of yourself is tough, especially if you instinctively think you don't deserve it.
You mentioned the journey that you've been on since the first lockdown happened 5,000 years ago. And you were part of the beautiful, beautiful production of Alice in Wonderland. And congratulations. It was stunning.
Thank you.
I'm such a fan of every single person involved in that production. But you made a post on social media when you had just started rehearsals about your very first day in the space. And it was very significant, like on a number of levels, especially since we haven't been in spaces.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, that was my first time in a theater introducing myself with my new pronouns, which are they, them. Um, yeah, and it felt incredible and euphoric. Um, but I will say what I didn't realize, because it's one thing just to be like, "Hi, I'm Jacob. My pronouns are they, them" on Facebook and just get love and likes and then it's like, oh, okay. But then in context with people you've known for years
Mm-hmm.
who are amazing, amazing. They're doing the work. They're really. It's like I couldn't have asked for a better community to be on this journey with. But I didn't realize the gender dysphoria that would happen. Being misgendered all day, feeling the energy of someone who's afraid to misgender you can be can be really exhausting. But I found that at the end of the day, it was it was worth it. It will take a bit of time, um, because it's not an instant part of people's vocabulary. It's like they have to like switch around some things in their head, but practice makes perfect. I even myself, like, I'm like, I can't just expect people to use my correct pronouns and then not do the work for correcting myself when I misgender other people.
Mm.
So realizing that just the work you put in is the work you're going to get. I mean, that specific group of people, so loving, so kind. And by the end of the journey, it was that feeling of euphoria again. And kind of knowing like, this is who I am. This feels good.
Mm.
Him doesn't make sense in my body. It just doesn't. It feels like a stab. And so I'd rather, yeah, go through this journey because I think the process is the results are worth the process. The process is worth the results. Anyway, whatever.
I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think that's really important. I know a lot of the times we have conversations like this on the show, which we're really, really lucky to have been able to have some really great ones. What we keep hearing is just try. You don't have to be perfect, just try.
Of course. And just reassuring allies, like, don't be afraid to fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it, meet halfway, right? Like we have to have a certain amount of understanding. Like I know it's frustrating, to feel like you don't take up space in the world or people don't agree. Like, I mean, I have quite a conservative family and they don't really understand it. And so I get he, him, my son, like constantly. And it's difficult, especially it's difficult being treated like uh, kind of your identity isn't real and it's just like then you start to feel like, oh, I'm such a burden, like I hate it's like I already came out once and they've already have to deal with me once and now they have to do it again and like, but it's like no, the right ones will be there and will stick with it, and you have to understand too that it's going to take a little bit of patience. Actually, I had this thought when we were speaking earlier. I think this idea of like cancel culture and this fear of not being perfect or saying the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
um, I think social media has had such a big part in putting itself unhealthily in our brains that we're always like on and we're always being a good ally and always. So I think those moments happen between the posts. Offline, when you're on your own, you really do have to allow yourself to grieve, because really in the end it's like if you don't help mother you can't help the baby.
Mm.
So regardless of what you're going through, yeah, it can always be worse, but you have to acknowledge the pain you're feeling because you're feeling it for a reason, and to not acknowledge it you'll just go insane, and then you're not going to be a help to anyone. So really, if the goal in the end is to be of service or to be of use and to be of help, you have to acknowledge the pain you're feeling.
Jacob, I can't thank you enough for agreeing to come on and for coming on to chat. It's so good to see you. You just
Likewise.
I adore you. Any last words to our viewers, listeners that you'd like to share? The space is yours.
To everyone right now struggling with their gender identity, just know a lot of people are going through it as well. Have patience with yourself and have patience with the people around you, and don't be afraid to explore. Okay. So coming up for Pride, I will be in the Bloom. Bloom stage is doing an hour set of artists from around Toronto. So it's spoken word, um, uh, original tunes. I'm doing Another Winter in a Summer Town from Grey Gardens, and I dress up as Little Edie and sing it in her key. And so that's on the 20th, I believe, between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. And then I'm I re-recorded it this week, but I'm going to be with Shalina Kennedy, Kelly Holliff, and Mark Cassius at MCC Toronto's Pride celebration.
Mm.
So that'll be on the 27th. And I'm singing the hardest song I've ever sung in my entire life, which is The Show Must Go On by Queen. And I'm also doing premiering it's the Tweed concert.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, last episode.
I'm going to be debuting my next single that I'm going to be releasing later on in the summer. So that's on the 12th of this month.
Amazing.
That's everything.
You are just a luminous human, and I'm so grateful we got the chance to chat. Thank you for your honesty and your vulnerability, your authenticity. You are just so inspiring, and I'm so grateful we had this time together. Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks, girl. You're the best.
You're the best.